directors and commissioners in the past that we have to now, make it happen now. Can't we wait? Can't we just get things right? Our new director hasn't been in a position long enough to really take the bull by the horns. I just think the timing overall is just really, really bad for our people.
Okay. Well, thank you for your feedback there, and I would like to just say a couple things. I understand your cost has gone up. And one of our challenges is making the public understand cost has gone up for local government too. What I used to be able to hire I can't hire somebody for what I was hiring them for 5 years ago, just like you know that.
Yeah.
Police officers are expensive. Every community is fighting for police officers because of the changing culture that no one's wanting to go into it. You got to pay these guys. If we want safe communities, we have to make those investments. Running a pool's expensive. We've got that pool, the parts for it, the chemicals, we pay lifeguards to work there. Kids are working out there at our parks. So the cost for local government has went up too. I totally respect where you're coming from as a business owner, but it's not like we can't keep up, but like you said, Robin, we can't keep up with our maintenance needs. So, I mentioned a new facility, but the immediate needs are that big list that I was just reading out of, $400,000 plus just to fix the trails.
That goes back to old decisions that were made by our leaders and our board members, is that we decided we're going to take Potts Park and manage it. And there wasn't enough foresight into how much it's going to cost us to maintain it. And then now that's just adding a big burden, and that's part of the reason why we're here.
Yeah,
admittedly, part of the reason why we're here is we have a pool that was built. And the old pool needed to get built. I wasn't really against the pool, but there wasn't enough foresight in there to say, oh my gosh, we're losing so much money to maintain the pool, we're not bringing in the income, and it's a heavy burden. So a lot of this wasn't proper planning previously, and I get it. But I say let's clean our house first before we go out and ask our community to fork out more money. And maybe there's ways that you can find how to pay for that in different ways. I have some things that I'd like to discuss with you, and Shannon hopefully is going to speak out and talk about that, because there's a lot of different ways we can raise revenue to get our facilities fixed without having to raise the taxes. And the last point I think I want to make off the top of my head is that David Hale last year gave Winchester, allocated Winchester several $100,000 for their parking.
It was Bath County and Menifee.
Bath County and Menifee.
Yeah, we didn't get any of that.
And the year before. So that's 2 years in a row that I'd like to understand from Mr. Hale. Why is it that we didn't get any money? If we had any money, I don't know if we'd really be here. I mean, I think it would maybe be later, but right now. So why is it that we were overlooked? And I think that needs to be discussed.
You need to direct those questions toward your elected representation in Frankfort. I can't explain why we're left out.
Well, I can tell you. Your answer to me, sir, was he knows what our meetings are. His answer is, I wasn't invited to any meetings. I don't know what's going on with Park and Rec. There's communication there that needs to happen. And that's what our paid officials are being paid for. Get out of the politics of it, have these meaningful conversations, and quit ignoring each other in some situations. Because there was opportunity there that I think if we had that relationship, that we could maybe have had some money. And that's my conversation with him before he leaves office. And I don't want to blame anybody for that, but I do think that's another way that just working with other people and other leaders and other government officials that we might not agree with specifically face to face, that there could be some meaningful conversations there.
Okay. I'll just wrap up with, we submit our list of wants and needs to our elected officials in Frankfort. And we ask that they go to bat for us. I can't explain why we do get or don't get whatever we ask for.
Okay.
That's a question you need to ask them.
Okay,
If other communities are receiving money and we're not,
right,
why that is.
okay,
So,
fair.
Yeah, you mentioned invitations. How does that relate to his response?
invitations, we have public meetings every month, and if an elected official doesn't show up at our meetings, I can't explain why they would not choose to join us.
He mentioned that official said he was never invited, and the question is.
The public's always invited, elected officials are always invited, our meetings are open to
But it
the
doesn't
public.
sound like that, though apparently the other person is not responding.
Okay. If that's your perception, that our public meetings aren't open to elected officials, then obviously I have not done a good job of letting the public and elected officials know that these are open meetings that anyone can attend.
That is apparently what they're saying.
Evidently, I'm the fault is what
Yeah.
is being said. It's my fault. Okay.
So, but how
As long as we're clear, it's my
I'm not
fault
saying it's
that
your fault.
Frankfurt
I'm saying it's not
left us
changed.
out.
If you
Okay.
go, you know, both.
Thank you. So we've got that down. It's my fault that we didn't get money last year. The last thing, Greg, why discussions are happening now? Because, as I mentioned, and you came in a little later, so I kind of talked, I'm not gonna go over all that. The city and county governments are being asked to fund more and more out of our general fund, and we don't have it. I don't have $5 million that the city can turn over to help upgrade the parks. Look, the fences were $20,000. I would struggle to find $20,000, Greg.
Is that
So
what
finding,
Because that's what we were.
that's the dog park.
Weren't we closing that last meeting I attended, that was going away?
Eventually, it's going to.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't.
But my point is, here's a list of wants and needs. When these are presented to us as a local government, we have a requirement to try to figure out how to get you the revenue.
I agree.
So property taxes may be a better avenue. Maybe it's occupational taxes. Maybe it's we say we don't want to fund parks in this community. I don't know what the answer is. We're just trying to have the discussions to figure it out.
Yeah, the restaurants are saying, you know, we're paying our fair dues because it's basically coming off the prices, people don't realize that. And maybe we as a government or, you know, community can look at other ways to generate that income outside of hitting the restaurants.
Okay, we can look at other avenues. We certainly have
That's-
property taxes, occupational taxes. We can have those discussions. How to find the money to help fund these entities which have maintenance needs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, we had another question. Sabrina?
I have a couple. You're saying that you're getting 2% right now for the tourism and rec board and all
Yes.
that. So it comes from prepared food, you're saying.
Mhm.
So if I go out to Romero's and I have a dinner and I have a glass of wine with my dinner, am I paying 2% also on my glass of wine?
Excuse me.
According to how they bring that up, if it's part of a meal deal, I don't know, it should be on the prepared foods. That's something you need to look at on your receipt to see how that comes
Right, so what
out.
I'm saying is, so this is on food and alcohol, not just prepared food, correct?
We don't have an alcohol tax.
Okay,
No.
so.
Some communities have an alcohol tax, we
So the
don't.
restaurant can charge you up on that is what I'm saying.
You should look at your receipts to
So
make
would
sure
that
you're
go to-
being,
Would that go to our city? If my bill says, okay,
whatever.
$10 for the pasta and the glass of wine, then I get charged 2%, so there's, 20 cents on my bill.
That should be on the food,
So
correct?
that should go to just the food.
Yes, that goes to the city.
So if they charge it wrongly, who's watching that? Nobody?
The consumer telling the restaurant, I think you didn't ring me up correctly.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we have young kids, women, ladies with children that are serving us. And so you look at your bill and you're like, well, it's more now, so am I gonna tip on that full bill higher now for them? Or is I'm not saying us, because we tip very well, I'm not saying that at all, but would a consumer tip less now because of this increase? You see what I'm saying?
That's a great question.
So-
Will it change tipping? Yes.
So will it change tipping?
It could, yeah.
And then I have one other thing about this, where we're eating, the
Mhm.
Pacer AI.
Yes.
I have a friend that moved here from Virginia, let's say, and she still has her Virginia phone. It's going to show that she's not from here, correct?
That's correct.
So if my phone's still from California, it's going to show here that I'm still from California.
That may be why at court day, we had like 100 people from Las Vegas and we couldn't figure it out. But people move.
Right. And
If you served in the military in the Air Force and you served in Vegas and you come back here and you don't change your phone,
Right.
then it's registering that someone from Las Vegas is eating at that restaurant.
This
Yes.
isn't 100% correct.
No, it's not. Well, like we said, kids aren't carrying phones either way. So no data is 100% correct, but this gives us a good conversation
Aligned.
Yeah, to start.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess, what was my other question? I had another one in here. I'm sorry. So if you did like a 2.5 now, or do you have to go straight to 3?
No, good question. Council could take no action, council could go in increments. It's just
Okay.
increments.
So there's no like set time for that increase
No.
every year? And will this, I mean, you're capped at 3%, correct?
Correct.
So, okay. And as far as I know, I have a granddaughter that plays soccer, and so I know that, you know, we pay for that, and it goes to the city and da-da-da-da-da. But, for Parks and Rec. Now, I feel for you, Tracy, because I know you work on a limited budget. How is that fair for her, for our tourism? Where one's getting 30,000, I believe it was?
Yes.
The airport's getting 15. Historical, I know they have
10.
Lights on and all
Yeah.
that and everything. But, you know, Gateway Regional Arts Center, how can we make this a little more fair for our tourism director? Because she does a lot for
Right.
our city.
Right. Great.
And county.
Great question. So if we were to raise this, obviously every entity wants to receive a little bit of that also. So to be fair, we're gonna have to get around the table and they're gonna have to figure it out how they want to better allocate what that additional revenue is. So all of it, I mentioned earlier $575,000 projected, but all of that wouldn't go to Parks and Rec. That's gonna have to be allocated out. And I'd said we're gonna have some tough conversations around the table with all those entities about what they feel is their fair share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I felt that it was like a little bit way apart, and I know that it costs a lot to mow yards and take care of everything, but I mean, what she does brings those people into our community.
She's got a very valid request for additional revenue. She does receive all of the hotel motel tax, I mentioned that earlier. So this on top is kind of helping provide her with more so that she can do the great job that she does, so.
Because guess what, advertising costs more too.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, everything's going up.
It's like everybody talking about this is
Yeah,
more,
like-
this is more, costs more to advertise than it used to.
Here's my concern, and I'm a big supporter of recs and park and have kids and grandkids play at those, but if you go out to eat, you start off with paying, right now, a 6% sales tax in Kentucky.
Correct.
If this restaurant tax, or prepared food tax, goes to 3%, well, now that boosted up to 9%
Correct.
total.
Instead of
If
8,
you
it's
use a
9.
credit card, that's another 3% now they're tagging on. So you're up to what, 12, then if you tip, 15, 20, 25%, you're up to about a third of the cost of your meal. For some families, I think that's an extreme hardship to be able to eat out. And I think they'll have less people eating out when you get, the line has to be drawn, I think at some point. It can't just keep easing up and up and up. Now, where the sacrifices are made, I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, we're having a discussion that we feel this is the best approach, but maybe it's through a different revenue stream. Maybe that's a better approach. Yeah, thank you. Shannon?
Is there any way, I know that other places, I don't know if it's city, county, fed, state, whatever, but is there an avenue where you can ask for a bond and a limit on its term?
Could we? Absolutely. For capital projects, we may look at bonding. We prefer not to borrow money if we don't have to. City of Mount Sterling carries no debt other than the pool. So, and that's being paid out of the restaurant tax funds. It's not coming out of our funds. But as a local government, we would prefer not to overextend ourselves and have to take out loans or bonds. Yes.
I forgot one question.
Did I answer, that's one part. Did you ask two questions? I'm sorry. Okay.
How would we pay the $5 million though without a loan?
Well, the 5 million, the question, in case you didn't hear it, was how do we pay the 5 million? The 5 million is a bunch of different projects, right? So I just use the 5 million to say this is what is in front of the city and the county, and we don't know how we can come up with $5 million. So could we figure out how to resurface the basketball and pickleball courts at 50,000? Yeah, we could probably figure out over the course of 2 or 3 years, the city and the county giving extra money to fix that. The bigger projects would require some sort of bonding.
But they're already taking in over $1 million a year. I mean, where's all this money going? Where's all these fees coming in? The concession stand's upside down where it was the last meeting. You know, so I mean, we're bleeding all this money. I mean, the parks are gonna have to either charge admission or we're gonna have to get rid of some of these parks. We have way too many parks. I know a lot of people that are beating about the Box Park, we didn't need it. And then we were promised that it wouldn't be improved, now it's improved, and we spent all this money out there. I mean, it's just where do we draw the line? I mean, we can't allow our government at any level to grow faster than the people it serves. And that's what's going on here. It's a spending problem. This government's never seen a dollar it didn't want to tax and spend.
Right.
Well,
We don't need this. We don't.
I get,
we don't need it.
I get where you're coming from as a citizen in this community. But I would say, what type of community have we come where the option is let's close our parks, let's get rid of nice things, let's get rid of programs for our kids? I don't think that is the right way forward. For some folks, it may be, and I respect where you're coming from. I respect where everybody's coming from. But we're a damn good community here. We've got great people. We can figure this out without closing things. I just don't think closing things is what we need to do. Getting rid of a park? My God, where have we come that we want to get rid of parks?
I mean, we have too many parks. Honestly, we have too many parks. We have too many parks. I don't know how many times to say it.
Well, you know, too many parks, man, to the Bonds Park, 72, the other communities around us love Bonds Park. 7,200 people came to visit. But I'm saying, other communities look at us and say, man, look at that community. They got it going on over there. They're providing nice things. Other communities recognize our excellence, and sometimes we miss it, and it's right under our nose.
But then that creates pressure to those communities for them to have to fight the same battle.
Well, that's why we thought a restaurant tax is a little more fair, because they're helping pay the bills.
I don't think he said that he wants to close parks like you voted. He said we may have outgrown the need for as many parks, and I can say from an out-of-state resident from 5 years ago, that when I was doing my geographic assessment of where I was going to live and what's going on and all the rest of it, I lost track of which park was what. I was an easy walker and there's a balk turn, and every time I turned around there was a park there. I was really surprised by that because I should be able to pick where I'm going to live based on things other than parks. So I agree, there are too many.
I'm proud that we have the 4 parks that we have, 29,500 people, 4 different options
It's
for
not bad,
people
so
to.
we can't afford
And I'm
it.
sorry, Shannon, did I misquote you? You said you're not against closing parks. She said you're not against closing parks.
We can't afford to operate parks. I'm not saying that we sell the properties, we get rid of them. I'm saying lock the gates till we can get ahead of this. You know, if we can't make money selling concessions, then we need to exit the concession business.
Okay.
And I think Eric is implementing a digital cash system, was at one of the meetings we were talking about.
Yeah, we're looking at putting POS system in.
And that should fix it, you know, on there. It was probably people just taking big bills, putting it in one pocket, making change out of the kitty. You know, it's probably something like that, right? I mean, the money, but there was more money being spent on concessions than we were taking in on concessions. And then, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but.
No, you have the floor.
I'll
Take your time.
stuff unpacked. So, last year, you know, there was several of us, the parks had record attendance at their meetings, over this very issue. The public came out in force and strongly said, we don't want it. Multiple restaurant owners were there. I mean, other people, I don't own a restaurant. I'm 46 years old. I've lived here 46 years. I love Mount Sterling. Plan to, you know, live here the rest of my life. It's just, I want to see good things too. But also, I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like in my personal home that, you know, you just have to work towards. You can't just go out and take. You have to earn it. You have to earn it organically. We have restaurants that are wanting to come here, but they don't want to come here for a couple of reasons. One, our other exit is dry, and that shouldn't be. I mean, you know, but then the other thing is taxes. I mean, this is an issue. I'm a real estate broker, and I talk to a lot of these big companies, and taxes are an issue. It is part of the discussion. Now, is that going to deter them from setting their building on our exit or another town's exit? No, probably not. You're right about that. But it is part of the discussion. It is part of what we pay. It does impact our businesses. It does put our city restaurants at a disadvantage to our county restaurants. There's just so many cons to it, so many negatives. I was just looking at the Mount Sterling Advocate. They're here today. And they have a poll running. There's 142 people, 82% that oppose this. 82% opposed it. You know,
Can you read that question, by the way? That question that they ask on the Advocate, I'm just curious of what that question says. I haven't read it, so I
It
just...
says, do you support a potential raise in the city restaurant tax from 2 to 3 cents? And said no. 82% of respondents, no, they do not. 14% do, and then 3% are unsure.
Okay, thank you, Shane.
So,
I'd probably say no too if I just saw a poll that says, do you think we should raise the restaurant tax? Probably the better way to phrase that would be, do you support raising the restaurant tax to help pay for nice things in our community? Or an option, do you support raising property taxes to pay for nice things in our community? Or, no, I don't support raising any taxes to pay for nice things in our community. That may be a better way, in my opinion, to ask that question. But polls are polls, and, you know, maybe I can get the Advocate to rephrase that.
About any question related to tax, the answer is going to be no.
Correct.
I'm running a campaign, as you know, for state representative, and I have so much support. I've talked to thousands of people. They're fed up with taxes, and not just property taxes. They're fed up with every tax. I mean, we have tax on insurance. You know, here, we're one of the highest in the state at 10%. You know, on title, even title insurance, when you buy a property and the lender makes you buy title insurance, and it's outrageous, and then you get smacked in the face with a 10% penalty from the city. If the property is located in the city, your health insurance, your life insurance, and when you die, you're taxed. It's just, government just tax. Why don't we grow the base? Why don't we work together as a community, bring some more restaurants here that want to come here, that are trying to come here, interest rates and other things are kind of put on the back burner. I think once the interest rates come down, the cost of materials, and we get the property taxes done away with, that more businesses will come to Kentucky and Mount Sterling. There are a lot of them in line that want to come here. As far as raising money, the city's sitting on about 50 lots right now that the city is taking through.
That's incorrect.
40 to 50
It's not that many, no. About half of those we own.
About
Little less than
$1 million worth of property.
Yeah.
About $1 million worth of property.
Oh, it's not that much.
It's about $1 million worth of property.
No, we'll get you, Pam, we'll run those numbers real quick.
Well,
He's saying $1 million worth of property. We don't own $1 million worth of lots in this city. Please, I want that fact checked.
I like
Yes.
that fact check too.
Yeah.
Because I think it's higher than that. But I think it's about 40 to 50 lots, and I know that there's private
that.
citizens in town that are wanting to build affordable housing that you yourself have outbid them on these auctions. And they're wanting to come in and remove the dilapidated properties at their own expense to beautify our community using private funds, no taxpayer money, and then we have the city outbid them. Why would the city want to push these properties into foreclosure and then outbid private business or individuals in town that are wanting to build affordable housing, maybe handicapped housing? Why would the city want to do that? Why would they want to outbid it? And then what's the game plan with those properties? I mean, I would like to think it's to put new houses on.
Well, so let's, as soon as we're finished, if we could stick to restaurant tax, I'd absolutely love to sit down and talk to you about why private property owners aren't going to address these blighted and abandoned properties and the city not have to be involved.
Well, they're trying to buy them at the auction, but the city is outbidding them using their own money.
The last master commissioner sale, nobody showed up to bid against us, so we got the lots.
Because they think
Somebody
you're gonna
has to
outbid
bid.
them.
So,
You know,
but we would welcome you, Shannon, I welcome you to go buy any of these blighted and abandoned properties. If you can take them, then I don't have to spend city money on them. Certainly.
It's, all right, the reason I went into that was for the funding mechanism, because we're saying we need funds. At the parks, they're bringing in like $1 million or something. It's around $1 million, 900 to 1.1 million or something, I think is the revenue stream right now. And it's a mess. I mean, when we went to those meetings, first, getting a copy of the budget was, it should be on the website. Eric shared a copy with me at the meeting, thank you. And I started looking at it and just, jaw dropped. I mean, what we're spending on different things. But the budget, I mean, it's all a mess. Why would you allocate more funding to something that's a mess? Why don't we fix what we have first? If we have to lock some gates and some parks to get it under control, then so be it. We're just growing faster than the people we serve. The other thing is the poll on here, and I think the question is fair. 2 cents to 3 cents. Maybe we do need to do another poll. I think that maybe we have some more meetings like this in town hall, maybe 2 or 3 more meetings where the public can come together, and then let's do a referendum. Let's have a public vote. Of the people that are interested, let's vote this out. It takes the pressure off the city. It takes the pressure off us. And that way we can vote as a community and we can see how the votes like. Go with that.
Well, Lexington instituted that type of tax for their parks and it passed, so certainly that is something that could be discussed.
And they voted on it via referendum?
It's my understanding they did, yes.
And they put it on property tax.
I don't know how they did, I've just been told they did. I
Yeah, so-
haven't really looked into it, different governments operate in different ways, Shannon. So we're using the revenue streams we have without trying to add another tax.
I'd like to see us, those properties, each have a $300,000 home, or 200, whatever we deem affordable. I think they're going at 250 is the average house now, 300. But, with a $300,000 house, 50 lots, that's $15 million. Some quick math, that's $175,000 a year or something in property tax. That's a whole other revenue stream right there off those lots as quick as we can get those reset. What I don't want to see happen is taxpayer money be used for that whole process and then the city donate those lots to Frontier Housing or an organization like that is basically a business in disguise. I want to see those auctioned off to the top bidder so that our builders, our developers in town, and we're not interested. We have lots to sell if anybody wants to buy some, but I think that those should go out to private individuals to build housing, to build that base, so we have a tax base to bring in that revenue and maybe give some of it to the parks.
Shannon, can I ask you a question? So was your question to the mayor is, would he consider, or everybody consider doing a public vote on increasing the restaurant tax?
One single ballot initiative,
Is
you're allowed to
something
do
that
it.
you would be willing to do, Mayor, or consider after we talk to the council or whoever?
We could certainly bring that up. Everything's up for discussion at this point, so.
The only thing I'd like to.
But, and if the thought of this community is you'd rather have our citizens pay for everything instead of spread loaded over to the citizens outside the community, then we can certainly have that discussion. We can pivot a discussion from a consumption-based type restaurant tax to property owners footing more of the bill. I mean, that can certainly be had.
I don't want it either way. The other thing I want to say in closing is the comments in the city and the parks, please turn on the comments. There is legislation in process, you should know if you're not, that is going to make it a law that says you have to have comments on. I'd like to see us be ahead of that. I've requested this numerous times, not just here, but other places. It's very important that the city have dialogue. We have a city council member, we have some other individuals in town that are coming to my page, trying to engage in this conversation, when that conversation needs to be held in a proper venue, and that's on the city's social media pages. The purpose of social media is for interaction with the public. It's for conversation. It's today's town hall. That's where these conversations need to be held, is on the city's pages, on the Parks and Rec pages, not on private individuals' pages where
Well,
city officials are imposing.
I would certainly say, Shannon, if the state passes that law, we'll certainly abide by any law Frankfurt passes. I would say that in government, when your pages are being used to have people advertise businesses, put malicious links into comments, slander other individuals, pass false information, those are reasons why local governments are not opening up those comments. And I would say social media is used to direct you to a website to obtain the information you need. And our website, I told you before, we received 7 emails. So people have submitted feedback. People had opened it up to call. I had 1 phone call.
I think if you had comments on, you probably had 700 comments on this issue.
Well, I've seen the comments on social media and a lot of those are false. And as a local government, when you're trying to provide information and within the comments, there's false information being passed, that's hard to police. So we can continue this discussion. I appreciate where you're coming from, Shannon. And I would ask that you